Some transits whisper. This one interrupts. When Uranus enters Gemini, the planet of radical disruption moves into the sign of language, information, movement, and thought itself. This is not just a change in technology. This is a change in how reality gets translated. The ideas you rely on to make sense of your daily life are about to undergo a radical rewrite, and the script you've been following is missing its final pages. The words we trust, the news we believe, the networks we build, all of it is entering the storm. And the strange part is this: Uranus in Gemini never arrives quietly. It appears when the world is learning how to speak in a completely new dialect. But this time, the new language may not be entirely human. In the summer of 2025, Uranus took its very first step into Gemini, giving us a fleeting, chaotic preview of what is to come. But now, in 2026, the transit locks in for the long haul. Uranus takes up permanent residence in this mutable air sign, initiating a 7-year evolutionary overhaul that will last until 2033. To understand the magnitude of this shift, we have to look past modern interpretations and look at the traditional blueprint of astrology. Because while modern astrology views Uranus as an outer planet wildcard, the collective weather, Hellenistic logic reminds us to look at the master of the house. Gemini is the domicile of Mercury. In ancient texts, Mercury is the trickster, the translator, the merchant, and the messenger. Mercury rules the wires, the roads, the synapses in your brain, and the literal currency of trade. When Uranus enters Gemini, the cosmic lightning strikes the house of the messenger. The electrical current is moving directly into our collective nervous system. We are about to experience an unprecedented acceleration of data, artificial intelligence, and cognitive overload. This 7-year cycle operates on a strict timeline, and there are 3 specific dates you need to circle in your calendar right now. First, April 25, 2026, the official ingress, where the long-haul phase begins and the collective momentum shifts. Second, pay close attention to May 22, 2026. This is the exact Sun-Uranus cazimi at 1 degree of Gemini. When the Sun purifies Uranus in the heart of the star, a massive collective flashpoint of illumination occurs. This is the moment a major blueprint, a new technology, or a shocking revelation is born out of the static. And finally, the cycle reaches its peak integration before Uranus definitively exits Gemini on May 22, 2033. This isn't about fatalism or predicting doom. Astrology is symbolic, not deterministic. Uranus doesn't destroy reality, it shatters the illusions and systems that have become stagnant. But this transit isn't just happening on a global scale. It is hitting a very specific, deeply personal area of your individual life. Depending on your rising sign, the cosmic shockwave is targeting a specific house in your birth chart. Let's break down exactly where the grid is fracturing for your sign and the hidden thread you must follow to keep your wiring intact. For Gemini risings, Uranus is invading your first house of self, physical vitality, and personal identity. The grid that is fracturing is your old persona. Over the next 7 years, your personal style, your path in life, and even how you present your body to the world will radically alter. You are experiencing a forced software update for your consciousness. Do not try to cling to the old version of you. Let the lightning reinvent your personal brand. But as your internal identity goes through a revolution, an even deeper shift is quietly targeting what you actually hold in your hands and what you think you own. For Taurus risings, Uranus moves into your second house of resources, finances, and self-worth. The grid that is fracturing is your material stability. The traditional ways you've earned money or measured your security are being totally rewired. You will find erratic fluctuations in cash flow, but also sudden, genius avenues for financial autonomy and digital income. Your relationship to wealth is being digitized. Yet as your bank account transforms, the lightning is already moving into the immediate world around you, threatening to disrupt the very neighbors and conversations you take for granted. For Aries risings, Uranus charges into your third house of daily rituals, local networks, communication, and siblings. Your immediate environment is fracturing. The daily routine you rely on will feel unpredictable, requiring absolute adaptability. This is a massive mental awakening. Your cognitive processing speed is multiplying. You are rewriting how you speak, write, and share ideas. Expect radical changes in your local neighborhood and inner circle. But this frantic acceleration of your daily thoughts is merely a symptom of a massive tectonic shift happening right beneath your feet, threatening the very foundations of where you belong. For Pisces risings, Uranus sinks into your fourth house of home, roots, ancestry, and private foundation of your life. The grid that is fracturing is your sense of belonging. Over the next 7 years, you may face sudden relocations, unexpected structural changes in your domestic life, or a radical break from ancestral obligations. The baseline of your life is being rerouted so you can find a truer sense of psychological freedom. But once the foundation of your home begins to shift, the spotlight inevitably swings upward, throwing your public life and career into complete, unpredictable visibility. For Aquarius risings, Uranus strikes your fifth house of creativity, romance, pleasure, and children. The grid that is fracturing is your creative self-expression. The rigid, calculated ways you used to find joy or create art are over. This transit brings sudden, erratic creative downloads, highly unconventional romantic encounters, and a complete rewrite of how you relate to your children or your inner child. You are being asked to create purely for the sake of liberation. However, this wild spark of individual creativity is destined to clash with the daily grind, moving the disruption directly into the invisible machinery of your physical health and daily labor. For Capricorn risings, Uranus demands attention in your sixth house of physical health, daily work routines, obligations, and pets. The grid that is fracturing is your carefully structured schedule. If you try to manage your day with rigid, uncompromising rules, Uranus will bring chaos to your workflow or nervous system. This transit requires physical flexibility and innovative approaches to health. You are learning to work smarter, freer, and with completely different tools. But as you learn to master the chaos of your daily workflow, the lightning naturally arcs across your chart, completely upending how you negotiate your most intimate one-on-one commitments. For Sagittarius risings, Uranus lands squarely in your seventh house of committed partnerships, marriage, and open contracts. The grid that is fracturing is your relationship dynamic. Expect sudden entrances and exits of highly eccentric, brilliant, or erratic people. The traditional, safe relationship scripts will no longer work for you. Uranus demands absolute mental freedom and breathing room in your partnerships. If a contract or relationship is claustrophobic, the lightning will sever it. Yet as your interpersonal dynamics go through a revolution, an invisible thread is pulling your attention toward the darker corners of life, the hidden debts and resources you share with others. For Scorpio risings, Uranus enters your eighth house of shared resources, deep psychological inheritances, debts, and investments. The grid that is fracturing is your codependency. Sudden changes regarding investments, marital assets, or financial obligations to others will force you to seek radical autonomy. This is an elite psychological excavation. You are freeing yourself from old trauma bonds and debt systems that have kept your mind captive. But as you liberate your assets and your psyche from the control of others, the lightning climbs higher, aiming directly at the highest peak of your chart, your legacy and your calling. For Libra risings, Uranus expands into your 9th house of higher education, belief systems, long-distance travel, and worldview. The grid that is fracturing is your paradigm. The philosophies, spiritual practices, or academic structures you used to rely on will suddenly feel outdated. You are undergoing a radical ideological shift. This transit brings sudden opportunities for international travel or unexpected paths in publishing and broadcasting. Your mind is expanding beyond the horizon. But a profound shift in your global perspective will inevitably demand that you look down, forcing you to completely change how you command authority in the public eye. For Virgo risings, Uranus explodes into your 10th house of career, public reputation, legacy, and authority. The grid that is fracturing is your professional path. The traditional corporate ladder or predictable career structure will no longer hold your interest or your destiny. Expect sudden, radical pivots in your profession, unexpected public visibility, or a complete breakthrough into an innovative, tech-driven, or autonomous field. You are redefining what success means. But as your public title goes through a dramatic rewrite, the social circle around you begins to crack, moving the tension directly into the networks and alliances you call your community. For Leo risings, Uranus charges into your 11th house of alliances, long-term dreams, social networks, and community groups. The grid that is fracturing is your social circle. The friendships and groups you aligned with in the past may suddenly feel unaligned. You are attracting highly innovative, progressive, or tech-savvy networks that match your evolving mind. Your long-term hopes and dreams are getting a complete systemic update. Let go of the old crowd to find your true collective tribe. However, this external network's dissolving and rebuilding, the lightning turns inward, slipping into the silent, private spaces of your mind where your deepest, unexpressed fears reside. For Cancer risings, Uranus occupies your 12th house of the subconscious, hidden matters, isolation, and spiritual liberation. The grid that is fracturing is your subconscious prison. The self-sabotaging mental loops, hidden anxieties, and psychological blind spots you've carried for years are being hit by a bolt of cosmic lightning. This is an intense, deeply spiritual transit that can bring sudden psychological breakthroughs, vivid dreams, and a complete liberation from old collective guilt. Whether Uranus is fracturing your identity, your career, your relationships, or your home, here is the truth this entire 7-year journey is secretly steering you toward. The world outside is going to become louder, faster, and more fragmented. If you try to keep up by consuming every piece of data, you will burn out your wiring. Uranus in Gemini is not asking you to know everything. It is asking you to cultivate a mind so sovereign, so anchored in its own truth, that no amount of external noise can knock you off balance. Discernment is your only protection. When machines learn language, humans have to remember meaning. The grid is fracturing so that you can finally build your own. If you want to know exactly how to navigate this shifting landscape month by month, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Comment below with your rising sign and where you are already feeling the tension shift. Stay grounded, stay curious, and keep your wiring intact. I'll see you in the next video.